I'm speaking today with Joe Gamaldi. He is the National Vice President of the Fraternal Order of Police. He started with the NYPD, I believe, in 2005, where he worked as a police officer for about 3 years. And then he transferred to the Houston Police Department, where he is still currently an active lieutenant with the Houston Police Department. So it's good to talk to you, sir, and welcome to the Small Man of the Law podcast. And for those of you who don't know who I am just a beat cop here in Chicago, and I'm really just trying to promote the benefits of jujitsu and all the things that go along with that. Not only the health benefits for police officers, but what I've really found is that fundamental jujitsu can really help officers for use of force incidents in the street, and that's really what I've been focused on. I saw a lot of departments kind of lacking in that area of, continued training and more training for their officers. And we all want better use of force incidents, throughout the country. And I definitely think, fundamental jujitsu and some of these programs out there, which we could talk about later, some other things I'm involved in, can really help, police officers do their job better and go home safer. And, even, the subject goes home safe too, and the person they're dealing with. So welcome to the show. But I also saw, because I've been following you for a while, I love what you do. And, I love how outspoken and honest you are. And that's always a pleasure. But I really saw you were really into nutrition and fitness. And I was like, wow, that kind of surprised me. And so that's really what I'd like to talk to you about today, just kind of police officer wellness, fitness with police officers, and just how we can, we're both working police. We both do the job. We know the ins and outs of, what it takes to be a police officer and manage our families and everything else that goes along with it. So I'd really like to get your input on that, and welcome to the show. And it's glad to see you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Hey, John, thank you so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. Actually, love what you do. I've had a chance to catch up on some of your podcast episodes and really appreciate the fact that you're pushing this to the officers that, not only just jujitsu, but, a little bit of health, wellness, taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people have kind of asked me, like, why? Like, why did you suddenly start talking about, like, your own nutrition, fitness journey and everything else? And
Mhm.
for me, it was really like, I was seeing all these retired officers or guys that had left departments on Instagram, and they were like starting these coaching businesses, which is fine, by the way. Like, I don't begrudge anybody that does a coaching business, but like some
Mhm.
of their angles to get people to buy their stuff was like, hey, you're a fat piece of shit. You're going to
Mhm.
die. Your partner's going to die. You're letting your family down. Also, buy my stuff. And I
Right.
was like, whoa. I'm like, I don't really think like screaming at officers that they're gonna die is the best way to like get them motivated to eat right and to
Mhm.
work out. I didn't feel like it was the right approach. Shaming people works, like that's gonna work for some guys. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna motivate them, they're gonna get out. But studies have shown that shaming people for their fitness choices and nutrition choices ultimately leads them to not wanting to get in shape and
Right.
not wanting to eat right. It actually has the complete opposite effect.
It's true.
So I thought, I have all this knowledge about nutrition and fitness. Like, why don't I just start putting it out there like completely free of charge? So if there is an
Mhm.
officer, because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, officers who are out of shape and fat, like they're just lazy. And like, I don't necessarily subscribe to that theory. I think it's just a lot of people just don't know. They don't know that you're going to need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight because there's so
Right.
much being thrown at them from all these like fad diets where it's like, you got to do keto, you got to do carnivore, you got to do this. Again, I don't begrudge anybody who does those diets, but all of those are just designed to keep you in a calorie deficit. So,
Mhm.
and by the way, if those diets work for you, like stick with it. Like that's awesome. Good. It works for you. But I just don't think there's enough good information out there for officers. So I'm like, screw this. I'm going to just start putting it out for free and hopefully I can help people. And it's really worked out great because there are people that'll comment and be like, hey, this has helped me. But I get a lot more on the back end in DMs where they're like, hey,
Mhm.
man, I've been following your stuff. I've lost 30 pounds. This is great. Like, thank you so much for sharing this. Because not everybody wants to put that out there to everyone. So
Mhm.
it's really been rewarding from my end just to like try to help people. That's all I'm trying to do is just try to help officers while also like trying to set a good example that like, hey, I'm 41 years old. I work full time as a night shift lieutenant. I have 2 young daughters that are, my priority. I have a wife. I have, the national vice president of the FOP. If I'm this busy and I can still eat right and work out, anybody can.
Yeah, if you can do it, yeah,
Yeah, go
absolutely.
ahead.
No, if you can do it, then absolutely anyone can, because yeah, you're just as busy as anyone else. So I don't think busy is an excuse. Yeah. And you talked about like you're leading by example. I think police need to see that. Like I don't, when I promote my stuff, I just say, just check out my page, see what I'm doing. Come take a trial class. So I think leading by example is kind of the best thing. This is what I do, check it out. And I think officers are more inclined to kind of follow that instead of, like you said, like being shamed into something like, oh, you're out of shape, you need to get into shape. And they're not going to really respond to that. But so I think, but the way you're doing it is a lot better and it works a lot better. And you probably get a lot more feedback from that.
Yeah, and honestly, most of it is super positive feedback. I have gotten some negative stuff where they're like, "Why are you posting a shirtless picture online, man? That's not." And I'm like, "Listen, I don't particularly like. I'm not particularly comfortable doing that at first. I've gotten more comfortable with it, but the reason why is like people are like, "Oh, well, why do you do it?" I go, "Because I have to show people that I'm living that same
Yeah,
lifestyle." And if
absolutely.
I don't, they'll be like, well, you just look skinny. You don't actually work out. I'm like, well, I just stay really, really lean. And if I don't show you, then you're just going to assume that I'm not talking from a perspective of actually knowing what I'm talking about. And when like you look at the statistics of how bad it is for us, like
Yeah.
the average lifespan of a police officer is 58 or 59 years old.
Yeah, that's way too young.
Awful.
Mm-hmm.
Our obesity rates are through the roof, and we're 50% more likely to take our lives than the general public. These are
Yes.
just facts.
Yeah, it's true.
We have to do something to
Mm-hmm.
change the culture. And honestly, like I have yet to meet anyone who got in better shape and their mental health didn't improve as well. Like I haven't met that person yet.
Yeah,
So
it goes hand in hand.
it absolutely, and I'm sure you've seen it on your side. You've probably seen guys who have come into a jiu-jitsu class who maybe don't feel very confident, who aren't in the best shape. And you can literally see them with every class, every week, every month that goes by, that they get a little bit more proficient, that they lose a little bit more weight, that they get in better shape. Their mental outlook is changing as well. And then other aspects of their life are getting better. They're becoming better fathers or mothers. They're becoming better officers. They're becoming better spouses or partners. All of their parts of their life are improving simply because they took the time to get in shape, to take a jiu-jitsu class, to do these types of things. So it's really, kind of, hey, we're going to make an entire life better here, not just, hey, we're going to get you to eat better.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's a big part of it. And I don't talk too much on the mental health. I've known, personally officers that have taken their life, and it's terribly unfortunate and it hurts everyone around them. And why this epidemic is kind of through law enforcement and first responders. I've got a pretty good idea. But I don't know, I'm not a psychologist. So the only thing I can say is that, the things I do definitely help my mental health, and jiu-jitsu being one of them. I always walk out of there feeling better. When my physical health is better, my brain health is better too. And a lot of that's tied to, I'm not the biggest on nutrition. I think you're probably way more into nutrition than I am. But that kind of, I saw that you said getting in shape is 85% nutrition and just 15% workout, which I think a lot of people struggle with the nutrition aspect and how much of their diet or what they really need to eat. So could you explain the kind of 85-15 that you talk about?
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, took me a long time to learn this lesson. Like I didn't really learn this lesson probably until like the last maybe 4 to 5 years of my life that I really like dialed in my nutrition and saw the results that I like really wanted if you really want to get lean. But what I tell people is 85% nutrition, because you cannot outwork a bad diet. You
Right.
just can't. Unless you're like Olympic athlete, running 100 miles a day, whatever. Yeah, maybe then you can. All right. But otherwise, for the general public, you cannot outwork a bad diet. So what you want to do is you want to be in a calorie deficit. And ideally, you want to be consuming 500 calories less than you burn in a given day. because if you do that, you will lose a pound a week because 3,500 calories equals 1 pound of fat. So 7 days in a week, you stay at a calorie deficit for 500 calories. And a lot of people say, okay, Joe, how do I do that? Like practically, you go online, you figure out what your basal metabolic rate is. What do you burn like if you just laid on the couch and did nothing all day long? Okay. So you figure out that number. Then you figure out how much are you burning in a day, and you can track that. Like, listen, the Apple Watch and some of the other ones, they're not the best tool, but at least it's something. And then you know how much you're burning in your workout. So let's say you burn a total of 2,500 calories in a day, or 3,000, whatever. Your target amount of calories you want to eat is going to be 500 underneath that. Now, what do I eat of that 2,500 calories? Because let's be clear, you could eat 2,500 calories worth of pizza for lunch. And if you ate nothing else during the day and you were burning 3,000 calories, you're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
Like it's the law of thermodynamics. The problem is the rest of the day, you're going to be hungry as shit and want to eat everything else in sight.
That's true.
So you're going to want to spend your calories wisely.
Yeah.
And what I encourage people to do is prioritize protein in your diet. And ideally, what you're going to want to do is get 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight that you have. Reason being is when you're in a calorie deficit, your body's going to be eating something to get that energy. You want it to eat fat. If you're prioritizing protein in your diet, then ultimately you're going to be able to hold the muscle that you have. You're still going to be able to perform in your workouts. Also, protein is much more satiating. It's going to make you feel fuller for longer, and your body actually burns more energy digesting protein than it does carbs and fat.
Yeah.
So prioritize protein in your diet. Make sure it's, prioritized in every meal, and it'll be much easier. And what do I talk about when I say that? Like for breakfast, have some eggs and some ground turkey or ground beef in your eggs, whatever, or, eggs and some ham, something like that for breakfast. That's like perfect. I have that every morning. Eggs and ground turkey is pretty much my morning go-to.
No
for
carbs,
lunch,
right?
You can get low-calorie bread and just make sandwiches. Do turkey sandwiches, ham sandwiches. Go for the, lower fat option. That's another thing too. When you're trying to lose fat and you're counting calories like that, the word of the game really is like substitution. You can still eat a lot of the stuff you enjoy, just sub it out for the lower calorie option. Don't drink Coke. Drink Coke Zero. You know what I mean? Don't buy the 80-20 ground beef. Buy the 93-7. Don't buy the 90-10 ground turkey. Buy the 99 fat-free ground turkey. You're saving calories everywhere you look. And technology with food, has come so far that basically there's a lower calorie option for everything. There's low-cal ice cream. There's low-cal chips. Legendary makes protein chips where you can eat chips and still get protein. The protein bars now that they make are like candy bars where you're getting great, grams of protein and low-calorie options to eat candy bars. I mean, there's so many options out there that work. Right. And then when you sit down and you eat for dinner, lean cuts of meat, do your chicken breast, do your turkey breast. If you like steak, eat steak. Just do the filet. So you do one that has less fat in it. And then you fill it up with vegetables, a potato, something like that. You can eat the protein bars to get your sweet tooth. And you can figure out a meal plan that works for you. Because some people will say, hey, Joe, can you write up a meal plan? I go, I don't do that because that's not going to work for you. Right. You have to figure out what works and what are your kind of triggers. Like, I got a sweet tooth. Okay, then you're going to want to, make sure there's some calories for some of those sweeter snacks that you want. And then by doing it in a calorie deficit and not a restrictive diet, because restrictive diets generally fail in the long term because you still want to eat that stuff. You can still fit in donuts in the morning if you wanted to that day and build your calories around it, or a piece of pie after dinner, and you just build it around it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And they're all good advice. I found a couple things as I've gotten older. I've started to limit the carbs. Sugar was a big one. I didn't even realize how much sugar I was taking until I started looking at packages and going, how much sugar is in this? And then read the package and go, whoa. So I've really cut out, soda or pop altogether. I have it every blue moon. Like, if I'm having tacos and I want a Coke or something, I will, but that's like a nice treat. So just cutting out, limiting my carbs and trying to limit my sugar or cut out sugar completely. And then one of the easier things for me, it's not really a diet, I don't see it as, is intermittent fasting. I'm not, promoting it or anything like that, but it's been the easiest. I just don't eat after 8 p.m. And then in the morning, I try and stretch it as long as I can, to let my body kind of recover, fully digest everything. So I'm not constantly digesting food. And that's really easy for me because I don't
Yeah.
have to restrict a lot of stuff and do all this calorie counting. I just kind of let my body process all the food 8 to 12 hours, and then I start over again.
Yeah, and it works for you. You're at a
Mhm.
calorie deficit because you've cut out the meals that you would have already eaten,
Right.
and it works. You know what I mean? And some people, that's the perfect one because they don't want to weigh their food. Like I'm a nut job. I sit and weigh
Yeah.
my food at dinner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Right.
and that's what it works for me.
Yeah.
But what I tell people is the diet that works for you is the one that's sustainable and the one that you can do. That's the
Absolutely.
one
Yeah.
that works for you. And another big one, and everybody gets a little, alcohol. I am not
Yeah.
a Puritan saying don't drink alcohol. That's not what I'm saying. Okay.
Mm.
But if you're committed to losing weight, that is a huge lever that you can pull
Yeah.
to help you lose weight
Mm.
because all of that alcohol is just empty calories. It's not
Yeah.
going to make you feel full. You're generally going to have multiple drinks, which is a ton of calories. And then generally, what do people do when they drink? They overeat as well.
Mm.
So I'm not telling people don't drink, do what works for you. I'm just saying that if you're really trying to lock it down and lose weight and get in shape, I would severely limit the alcohol. And when you do drink, make sure you're picking the lower calorie option of whatever your drink of choice is. So if you're a beer drinker, you're going to want to find, I guess it's like Michelob Ultra or whatever. And
Yeah.
if you drink, hard liquor, whatever the low cal option for that is,
Yeah.
that's what you're going to want to go with so that you can still have some of what you want, but you're not completely blowing your calories for the day when you have a drink.
Right. Drinking like a Guinness or something that's going to be like, yeah, right. Like eating a loaf of bread or something.
Yeah, you might as well
Yeah.
have a milkshake, right?
Right, right, exactly. So the other question I have for you too, because it's kind of big for me, is because jujitsu is I do usually 2 hours a night. I take two classes 3 nights a week at minimum. If not, I'm there on my days off too training. But you're the how would you approach like the pre and post nutrition to get better performance through your workout? So do you have something that you take like right before you like eating before your workouts? And then something you like eating after kind of to balance that out?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what works for me. I like to get up in the morning, immediately hydrate like crazy
Hmm.
because people don't realize how dehydrated you are when you wake up. Drink a ton of water when you wake up. It'll make you feel better like much, much quicker. So drink a bunch of water. Then I eat my breakfast, and my breakfast is always like packed with protein. So it's 2 eggs, 3 egg whites, 5 ounces of extra lean ground turkey that I've already prepared. And then that's my breakfast. So I'm hitting like 57 grams of protein right when I start. And then I like to go and pretty much work out right after that. I take my creatine. I'll take a little caffeine, whether that's a cup of coffee or whether it's a pre-workout or whatever. I got to get something to get me going a little bit. I work night shift, people. All right, give me a
Yeah.
break. So then for me, that's right to my workout right after that. And a lot of people ask, like, hey, why do you work out first thing in the morning? Is it like for some sort of benefit or whatever? There's no physical benefit for me. For me, it's up here mental because I heard about this basically on a podcast. The podcast in Modern Wisdom is the anxiety cost of thinking about the thing that you need to do all day.
All day you're
So,
thinking about, yeah, should I work out? Should I not work out?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like I haven't gotten it in
Hmm.
yet. When am I going
Right.
to find the time? Like, oh my God, this is a mess. Like, how am I going to fit this in? I can eliminate all of that thinking and all of that anxiety if I just go and work out right away.
Yeah.
So I hit my workout, and then normally when I'm done, I take time to cool off because I have a garage gym in Texas. And if you don't know, it is hotter than hell here right now. I think I'm still sweating from my workout this morning after I already showered.
Right.
So I'm now sweating again. But after that, I generally cool off, like ton of hydration, whether that's like a vitamin water or like ghost hydration, just to try to get back all the electrolytes I just burned off. And then I'll generally cool off and have some sort of light meal, like a sandwich and some protein chips or something. And that's just me being hungry at that point again. And
Mhm.
But no, I would just suggest to people, find out kind of what works for you. Some
Right.
people, they enjoy working out fasted. I would suggest having at least something, having some sort of protein source before you work out.
Yeah, I think you need a
It's
little
shown that,
something in your stomach. Yeah.
yeah. And studies have shown that it's better to have like some sort of protein so that your body's kind of like feeding off that instead of
Mhm.
just completely fasting and working out.
Yeah. And I know a lot of guys that swear by we have a 6:30 a.m. class, and they're like religious about it, every day they just get up, go, and they don't think about it after because they say it's great and they like training in the morning. I don't really have that option. I train at night, but
Yeah.
I kind of treat it like, like I'm going to work, if it's snowing, if it's raining, if it's cold, if it's hot, it doesn't matter. I'm going on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm taking my 2 classes no matter what. So I kind of got into that discipline routine. And I think that's helped because, the motivation wanes. It goes up and down. You're going to have days where you don't feel like doing it. And I've had plenty of days where I don't feel like doing it. And I go and I'm like, man, I'm glad I came tonight. I feel so much better. And so, yeah, the motivation definitely comes and goes. And I think, that discipline of just doing it every day and sticking with it's difficult, but you really have to discipline yourself. Yeah, it's part of
No,
it.
you just made a fantastic point. And I really want to make sure that like your listeners like hammer in on this. Like the motivation will come and go.
Yeah.
Like there will be months where you are super motivated and you go all the time and this is great and everything else. But there are times where that motivation is not there, even in the
Yeah.
most motivated people. And it's the discipline that gets your ass to show up.
Hmm.
It's the discipline that says, no, 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 I don't care that you're tired. I don't care that you don't feel well. Like, this is who we are. You know,
Hmm.
that this is who we say we are. We're going to do this. And like, I tell people that, like, either you are who you say you are or you're not. Like, I'm the person that, like, and it's so funny because my family and I, we travel a lot and we go on vacations. I work out on vacation.
Hmm.
I'm that nut job.
Yeah.
And people are kind of like, man, why do you do that? Like you're on vacation, blah, blah, blah. I go, this is who I am now. This is just a part of me. I am going to go and I'm going. Now, do I do the same workout that I do at home? No. Is it as intense? No. But I go and I do it because that is who I am now. I'm the guy that works out every day. And I'm just going to go and do it. And even if it's only just a quick 20 minutes, this is who I am now. I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The discipline's a huge part of it, and you really have to commit to that. And like I said, like I don't miss work, so I'm not going to miss my workout either. And I treat it just the same because I think it's just important. I think people prioritize their family and their kids and their wife and all these things, which are great things to prioritize. But I also have to be healthy. I also have to take care of myself, to be there for them, to do better for them, to do better in my job, to service people better. If I'm in better shape and taking better care of myself physically, mentally, emotionally, all these things that come from, fitness and exercise and eating well, you're going to be better for everyone around you. So, I always say taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's really you're helping the people around you also. And I think you need to take that time for yourself to be better for the people around you. So,
Yeah, no, that's a great point because a lot of times I'll hear from guys and gals that say, I feel guilty taking time away from my family to
mm,
do this thing for myself. And I'll say, listen, you have to think about the time that you are spending with them. If you are out of shape, if you are obese, are you really present? Like, is your mind clear? Don't you probably have a little bit of brain fog? Aren't you maybe thinking about, oh man, I wish I would get in shape, or I wish I would do this? Or maybe you don't even have the energy to play with them.
right.
So, yeah, you're in the room, but are you on the floor playing with them? You're
Mm,
outside, but you're just sitting. You're not playing with them. You're just watching. Do you have the energy to chase them around the playground? Like, these are all questions you should be asking yourself
sure.
and saying, would the time that I do spend with them be much more quality if I were in better shape, if I had better mental health? And then another thing that I like to pose to people is like, okay, you might be able to get away with the bad health habits that you have now because you're in your 30s or maybe in your early 40s. You still get away with it. It's like, what do you want the last 10 years of your life to look like?
Mm,
And like, and it keeps me motivated. Like, I know what I want my last 10 years to look like. Like, Number one, right now, I want to be able to play with my kids. I have an 11 and a 9-year-old. I want to be able to chase them around all day. I want to have fun. When we're on vacation, I want to go nuts with them and have the energy to do everything that they're doing. Period. End of story. But at the end, whenever my last decade on earth is, I want to be able to chase around my grandkids. I want to be able to get on the floor with them and play and do all these things. Like, think about what you want your future to look like, because you're not always going to be young. My family and I, we just took a trip to Europe. It was a phenomenal trip. We did a shit ton of walking everywhere. And I will tell you, I saw a lot of elderly folks that really couldn't get around all that well.
Yeah.
I don't want, and I'm not like begrudging them, but I'm just saying, I don't want to be that. I want to be able to still be active and walk around. I want to enjoy those years. And I want my kids to look at me and say, man, he always stayed in shape. He always had the energy. And not only that, you're teaching your kids life lessons too, because no matter what you tell them, they're ultimately watching the example you're setting. So my girls will sometimes come out and work out with me in the garage gym.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great experience. It's great to share that with them, to teach them and share all this knowledge. And, my hope is that they will stay in shape the rest of their lives and they will take it seriously because I've set that example. And you can kind of break maybe some bad generational things that have gone on in your family, where some bad eating habits or maybe no exercise habits have been passed down. You could be the one that breaks that mold and just, kind of carries it forward for your kids and your family.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. And, police officers always talk about enjoying their retirement. All of us want to retire.
Yeah.
But guess what? If you don't take care of yourself for 30 years, what do you think your retirement's going to look like?
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. Our life expectancy, like I said, is 58, 59. Right. So chances are you're going to retire at 55 and be dead in 3 years?
Right.
Or do you want to live for 30 more and have them be like quality years where you're still enjoying your life? Like, that's the whole point, guys. We want to get out of these places. Yes. We want to finish our careers and we want to enjoy our retirements.
Yeah. But we have to be healthy to do that. Yeah.
We got to invest in it now.
Yeah. Oh, and the one thing, a couple other things I saw, because people always say how they don't have the time, but you have a 30-minute workout you do 4 times a week. And what is, you're kind of more of, you don't really do the weights, you do more just like body workout, right?
Yeah, for sure. So listen, don't get me wrong. I used to do all the heavy weights and going to the gym all the time and everything else. This is just what works for me. Because I don't want to get any more nagging injuries as I got older.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be as healthy as possible. I tell people too, like, if you're trying to be a bodybuilder and like be a power lifter, like, my stuff's not really for you. Okay. I'm more of just the general person that just wants to get in decent shape, and lose some body fat and just feel good. So yeah, I pinned it to my Instagram. It's a quick 30-minute workout that you could do pretty much anywhere. And it's all body weight. It's push-ups, it's pull-ups, it's dips, it's ab workouts, things like that, to just get you through in 30 minutes. And what I do is I do that 30-minute workout, then I jump on my Peloton, I ride for 30 minutes, and then I do 4 minutes on an assault bike and a 5-minute cool down on my Peloton. And that is my workout. Then I also get 10,000 steps a day. And then what I do though is, like, on a Friday, I don't do my body weight workout. I just do 30 minutes on the Peloton and a 5-minute cool down. And then Saturday and Sunday, I just do 20-minute rides with 5-minute cool downs. So I'm in there every day. I keep that discipline, but the hard days are kind of like my Monday through Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I give myself a little bit of grace. But I tell people too, you don't need to work out every day to lose weight and lose body fat.
Yeah, you can have some recovery days too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just a nut job that does it every day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you can easily achieve weight loss by working out 4 days a week, making sure you're getting up and moving, get 10,000 steps every day. It's not that hard once you start tracking it, especially if you get up once an hour while you're at work. If you work at a desk, walk around a little bit, you'll get your 10,000 steps. And you'll lose weight as long as you're keeping track of your calories and staying at a calorie deficit. It's the law of thermodynamics. You will lose weight. I know it sounds like me and you are like oversimplifying it right now, but if you're just intentional and you start paying attention to this stuff, I assure you, you'll lose weight.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I'm kind of the crazy guy too. Like on my days off, I'll take 3 jujitsu classes. And people are like, you're still here? What are you doing here? Didn't you take
Yeah,
class this morning? I'm like, yeah, I had a private lesson this morning, and now I'm taking 2 classes tonight. Like,
that's
yes, you
awesome.
you don't need to do that. But if you're a police officer and you take 1 to 2 classes a week, some fundamental jujitsu, you kind of, kill two birds with one stone too. You're getting in physical shape, and you're kind of, you're getting better for your next use of force incident that you might meet on the street, because the fundamental jujitsu absolutely helps with that. And so one other question, because this is a big one, and all the police officers out there watching, especially all the police officers I work with, we drink a ton of coffee. I drink black coffee for the caffeine, but everyone is walking around with an energy drink in their hand. So you have 3 energy drinks that are pretty healthy, right? And like you could be
Yes.
okay with drinking them. So I
Yeah.
I, I want to know this too, because I already forgot that. I think the one was Gorilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I forgot the other two already. So
Okay.
listen up,
So
police officers, because this is important.
so
Yes.
so first of all, let's talk about caffeine. And
Yes.
before I start, I want to make it very clear. I am a complete hypocrite on this topic. I just want to be completely clear
I
about it.
love caffeine too. I could drink
Yeah,
coffee all day
yeah,
and
so
energy
the
drinks.
the
Yes.
daily dose, the recommended daily dose is you should not exceed 400 milligrams of caffeine in a day. Okay,
Yeah.
so I think that's just for regular people.
Yeah, it's
For law
normal. Yeah.
enforcement, it should be like 800. But
Especially
to
if you're
give
on midnights. I mean, come on. Yeah.
yeah, to
Yeah.
give everybody an idea, that's about 4 to 5 cups of coffee a day, which we could easily down in one sitting.
Mhm.
Or sometimes for some of y'all that like really enjoy your pre-workout, that's like 1 scoop of pre-workout, but 400 milligrams. Now, for me, it's normally either coffee or like a pre-workout in the morning to get me going before my workout. And then I will have an energy drink on my way into work. Now,
Mhm.
my top 3 energy drinks. At number 1, with the best formula on the market, 200 milligrams of caffeine per can, is Gorilla Mind. They have a wonderful formula. It is great. I highly recommend them. Great company. Number 2, and by the way, the flavors on these are really, really good. It's not too strong. It's not too soft. It's just like kind of they're in the Goldilocks zone. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And
Perfect.
then second is Ghost Energy. Once again, really good formula on Ghost. Their flavors are very strong though, and it's not for everybody. So Ghost is really good. And then coming in at number 3 is a Texas company. It's called Rise. Rise has great energy drink flavors. It's going to be a little bit on the softer side, but flavor wise, but also great formula on there. So those are kind of the 3 that I recommend to people that I drink and that I really, really enjoy. So if those are your energy drinks, I would say those should be your go-to for energy drink of choice.
I think they will be from now on. Yes, because I always feel guilty about down in a Red Bull or a Monster. So if I could find something a little bit healthier and a little bit better, yeah.
Significantly better than Red Bull and
Yes.
Monster, I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
So I think I'm going to make the switch to one of those 3. I appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah,
And
no
I
problem.
and I think all the officers watching too, because I always see an officer walking around with either like a Bang energy drink or a Monster or Red Bull. It's so common.
Yeah, guys, we don't have to drink those
Yeah.
anymore. There's so many better options on the market. Like, don't
Yeah.
do that to yourself. There's a ton of better options now. It's no longer the 90s. You know what I mean? We can
Yeah,
find other energy drinks.
exactly. So you could still get your energy drink without, all the extra, sugar and calories and extra caffeine that we don't need. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And all
No,
of
that's
those
great.
ones that I just listed are always going to be like 5 to 10 calories. So, don't drink your calories, folks. It's just empty calories. You're not going to feel full.
Mhm.
Always look for the lower cal option of whatever your drink of choice is, and you'll be much better off. Oh, another thing too is like if you're trying to lose weight, be very careful at Starbucks. Like if you
Oh
like to go to
yeah. Yeah.
Starbucks, I don't begrudge anybody, but like there is a ton of hidden calories in
Mhm.
everything there. So be very, very intentional. Look at the menu, find out what the calories are before you order, because like even their iced coffee is like sugared to where there's like 80
Yes.
calories. So you think you're getting like iced coffee. Oh, this is great. There's only 5 calories. No, boom, 80. And you didn't even think of it. So that's another thing too, is like make sure if you are a coffee drinker and you like Starbucks or Dunkin' or whatever, whatever your choice is, make sure you're very intentional in checking out that menu and figuring out how much you're actually taking in.
Yeah, because even if you order a black coffee at Starbucks, it'll be that added sweetener. You got to say no sweetener because
Yep,
yeah,
yep,
they'll
you're
definitely
absolutely
put it
right.
in there. Yeah, so you're not really getting a black coffee. Yeah, so yeah, just being definitely more mindful of that. Absolutely. Yeah. So one of my last questions, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you're super busy, but just what would be the advice on starting your fitness journey? That person just kind of out of shape, not doing that well, and just say, I want to start today. What should I do?
Yeah, I think the first thing is there's no magical day to start.
Yeah.
Like, you don't wait until January 1st. Don't wait till the first of the month. Like today, today's
Right.
the day to start.
Mhm.
And I know that you're sitting there thinking this is like an impossible mountain to climb, and it's going to take too long. Just get in the routine of tracking what's going into your body, how much you're eating, or your calories, and just get on a plan. Try it out for like a month, just tracking your calories and how much you're taking it, and trying to stay at that deficit. Try it for a month to just get 10,000 steps a day. Just do that, and
Mhm.
you're already going to start losing weight. Then progress into a workout plan if you want. Or if you want to start ham right away, then like go ahead and do it. But like just start out, try to stay consistent, try to get a minimum of those 4 to 5 workouts in a week. Don't don't sell yourself on the excuses that everybody uses to convince yourself you not to do it.
Right.
And it's always, I don't have the time. I don't want to take time away from my family. I had this nagging injury. Like, your mind will come up with a list of excuses to try to get you to just sit down and sit there and not do anything. Like, it's a battle. But
Mhm.
I assure you that on the other end of this, every aspect of your life is going to be better. I wouldn't bullshit you. I swear. You're going to be a better father. You're going to be a better partner. You're going to be a better person at work. You're going to be a better friend. Every aspect of your life is going to improve by just eating a little bit better, getting in shape, and losing weight. I assure you, it's going to be worth it on the back end. And you just have the added bonus of what we've talked about, performing better at work. And like,
Mhm.
I'm not guilting anyone or shaming anyone into trying to do it, but you'll perform better if you're in a fight.
Yeah.
You'll perform better. This is, I
Yeah.
don't want
Your
to get too
cardio is
deep.
going to be better. Your stamina is going to be better. Yeah,
Everything,
absolutely.
everything
Yeah.
that is going to be your performance in every physical activity is going to be better.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you want that deep down.
Hmm.
Um, don't convince, don't let anybody shame you. Do it for yourself.
Yeah.
Just do it for you. Do it because you want to be a better dad, mom, police officer, whatever. But I promise you, it's worth it on the back end. And there's a ton of great free information. Follow me on Instagram. I put out videos, nutrition videos and stuff. I'm always putting out little stories about my protein bars that I've tried and all this other stuff. I try to kind of give you all
Yeah.
reviews to guide you where to buy stuff, where not to buy stuff. So I'm just trying to do my part and set an example for everybody. And if you need help, shoot me a DM. I'm constantly talking to officers, just trying to help them out. But just get out there and get in shape. Your life will get better. I assure you.
Yeah, no, well said. And when I post some of this stuff, I'll absolutely, add your stuff on here so people can find you and where you are and what you're doing. And I tell people the same thing with jujitsu. They watch the Instagram reels of all this kind of crazy stuff with jujitsu and be like, oh, I could never do that and everything else. And when I tell people just make it your journey. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've been doing it for, 13, 14 years. And I started at 35 and I'm not, wasn't super athletic at the time, but like I'm never going to reach that level of these, Gordon Ryan or Craig Jones or anything like that. But I can still get huge benefits from jujitsu and what I can do with jujitsu. So I just tell people, don't compare yourself to others with a lot of these things. Just make it about you and how it's improving you and how you're getting better. And that usually clicks with people too.
Yeah, what do they say? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
You're on your own journey
Right.
and you're on your own pace.
Hmm.
And don't worry about, what the Instagram influencer looks like or your
Hmm.
buddy looks like, or, like you said, the crazy jujitsu video you just saw at the Abu Dhabi Classic. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like,
Right.
don't worry about that. You
Yeah.
just worry about, did you get better today?
Right.
Did you get your workout in? And you know, what do they say? Just 1%, just get 1% better every day. And holy shit, you're better by 365% by the end of the year.
Yeah.
So just keep trying to make those improvements. And there'll be that moment where all of a sudden you look back, and it won't take that long.
No,
Like a year from now, all of a sudden you'll look back, and a year is nothing nowadays. It goes by in the blink of
it
an eye.
does.
And you'll be like, wow, I can't believe all that I've accomplished. And then that gives you that mountain of evidence to keep pushing that you are that person. You are that guy that got in shape. You are that guy who went and got your jujitsu purple belt and climbed the rank. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's who you are now.
Yeah.
And you have all this evidence to keep pushing, and you'll have the discipline to keep going.
Yeah, no, much appreciated. And it was great talking to you. And thanks for taking the time. I know you're a very busy man. And we didn't talk politics today. We just talked about nutrition and fitness. You have your separate politics. And because I really can't talk about that technically. I know I'm not a spokesman for any department or anything. But, I'm just trying to, improve police officers' lives and the way mine improved through jiu-jitsu. And I see you doing the same. You're trying to improve, police officers' life through nutrition, and what you do with the FOP is, fantastic. Really appreciate your service and what you're doing for police officers throughout the country. Really respect what you do and what you're doing. So thank you. Much appreciated.
Well, John, thank you so much for having me on, man. It was an absolute blast. And to everybody out there, stay safe.
Sounds good. Keep up the good work. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.